What Welcome to How Did You Make It? Today we have with us Mr. Rushil Johnson, who's been in the fitness industry for around 8 to 10 years now. He's built a gym which is magnificent, and the gym's name is called Built. Rushil's passion for fitness started when he was a malnourished teenager who was physically weak. He eventually started researching about fitness and started learning more and more about fitness and actually chose this as a profession. And he's become a very industry specialized expert into fitness. Rushil's passion is to drive his clients and people that are taking interest in this to help them with knowledge that connects both physical fitness and the quality of life through improving mental health. Without further ado, let's welcome Rushil Johnson on the podcast today. Welcome, Rushil. Welcome to How Did You Make It?
Thank you.
So we were just going through your gym and we were trying to understand what are the unique equipment. So we would love to hear from you as to how you built, and then we'll try to understand and penetrate into how you are as an individual.
Right. So Build is my brainchild. It's been my dream project for over like 4 or 5 years. I've been working very passively and actively both at the same time. While I've had this luck to work out in different kinds of gyms and all over the city, and my intention was always to have a beautiful environment, a safe space for most people, because gyms can be intimidating to some, especially when you're starting out.
Yes.
So I've noticed that in my clients firstly, and some of them don't come to the gyms just for that particular reason. So that was one. And I was a freelance trainer before this happened. And I used to travel all over the city, train people from home to home or gym to gym. It was good till a point where it was too much travel. And Hyderabad's traffic, it's,
Yep.
you know what kind of a headache it is. So every time I used to sit in the traffic, like, I need a gym for myself. I need my own space where my clients can come, feel like their second home to see. So, but then COVID happened because of the crisis, and then the concept slightly changed from a commercial gym to more of a personalized studio where we regulate the amount of people that come to us, and we only prioritize personalized coaching, one-on-one interactions, anything that you have specifically towards your goals, that could be fitness or your health and wellness in general. So that's what we cater to mostly. To add to a bit, we also allowed freelancing, which I had to because I was one of the freelance trainers. But the idea to set this place up was purely if I walk in and I'm paying you what I would like in the gym. What are the machines I would want, and what are the placements? Because these small details go a long way. When people look at it, you look at it as a business, but when someone is walking in, they just purely look at it as any other gym. So I wanted to stack out, and hence the unique pieces of equipment. It was very hand-built, per se.
I don't know if it's the right adjective to use for a gym, but you have a beautiful gym.
Right.
But when you're talking about fitness, what does fitness mean to you?
Well, fitness meant what it meant to most people initially, to me as well. This look good, get girls, Get some impressions going and be the strongest person in the friend group. That was my agenda when I started working out. But slowly as I progressed into it, I understood the other benefits of being fit or healthy and maintaining a lifestyle per se. When I say fitness, you need to think about lifestyle. It's not just coming to the gym or eating egg whites in the morning, but it goes beyond that. Even if you are not a serious athlete or someone whose life depends on working out and being fit, even if you adapt to certain aspects of the lifestyle, I feel whatever discipline or the delayed gratification you learn in the gym can be taken and applied outside your other areas of life. And that I learned from personal experience. To be honest, I was addicted to a lot of stuff before, alcohol, cigarettes, and whatever. So for me, purely starting was to get out of that. And once I got out of that, I realized how much potential I was wasting on my own. And then I wanted to be the best performing athlete in my community. I started it out for me, but as I went, progressed through the journey, I realized that a lot of people struggle with the proper kind of guidance or the proper kind of path. Before, when I started it, there was no information in the internet. The internet barely was even a thing about for fitness. So the biggest guy in the gym was usually our go-to source for information, which usually was not a good idea. So I felt if someone who's just starting out now has the right direction, right path, they can save a lot of time in terms of reaching their goals faster. And that's how I, from doing it purely for my own self, slowly transitioned it towards a profession. I have to put it that way.
That's wonderful. So when you're saying you started your fitness journey before like the internet had like good sources of information, when was it roughly? What's the timeline?
Around 2010, 2011. Right, back 2011. Okay, I mean, you can find articles on the internet, but nothing compared with now.
Right.
Now, it went beyond being information. I believe now what we have is information overload.
Yep.
This is also confusing for a lot of people because you go type in how to lose fat, you'll find hundreds of articles, maybe each one of them telling slightly different of a story. But I feel if you can jot down the points that are common in all of these articles, you have your answer. That's how I based my research as well. When I initially started out, there was no particular material or a book or a course that I could read or go through. And all of it was purely own research and then breaking down that research into multiple mini researches, if I have to put it.
Right. So when you were growing up, what did you want to become?
I just like anybody, I had a lot of things in mind. I actually was taking up cricket seriously. I went to a cricket camp for like 6 years.
Wow. Okay.
Played under 18 states.
Okay.
Intermediate happened, met a lot of distractions, and I got sidetracked. That's
all right. Okay.
But I also wanted to join the defense, especially special operations.
Okay.
I feel with the discipline I have now, I could have made it, but I was too naive back then to even consider it.
Okay. So you think that you've always had the hustler mindset, or it's the cricket and the gymming turned you into one?
I don't call it hustler. Now I have a hustler mindset. It turned into one. But before, I was a very passionate human being by the core. Even if it was good or bad, I did it with a lot of passion and obsession. For example, wasting my time as a teenager, I did it with a lot of passion. Like I was always busy doing something, going, meeting somewhere, hanging out with somebody. Then fitness happened. Even I took it to a little bit of experience when I competed in bodybuilding. Of course, the sport itself is an extreme sport. So later, slowly I realized whatever I do, I cannot go halfway. Either don't start it or I see it to the end. So that's how I slowly transitioned into hustling and putting that mindset into place, where I felt if I could make a good physique, which is not attainable for most people, not because they don't know what to do, but because of that mindset. everyone knows to exercise, everyone knows what a push-up is, everyone knows what protein and carbs are nowadays.
Right.
But it comes down to application. And I felt I have that power in me. If I dig deeper down,
Yeah.
I could always harvest it to the next level.
Interesting. So moving a little bit away from the conversation, maybe a lot of our viewers would be interested in knowing this. So like you said, the intention when you started off, trying to become ripped or into fitness is to maybe, look good and like ensure that, the girls around you are finding you very good looking. What should a teenager or somebody in their early 20s do? Like, what should they do in a gym to ensure that they're getting ripped like they would want to in a leaner timeline?
Well, everyone is different, right? But you have a base program. It's always better to have a program made out for you by some expert, or you can do your own research and do it for yourself. But I always suggest consulting an expert initially because, as I said, there's a lot of information overload.
Correct.
The right kind of science backed by your program.
Correct.
So once you have that program, it's like building a building, right? You have an engineer who can create a blueprint for you. It could be one hell of an amazing blueprint, but it's down to you to lay down the bricks and build the slab.
Right.
That's your hard work.
Right.
So once you have a program, it's all about consistency. Don't stress out if you miss a meal or if you miss a workout. We are not aiming for perfection, we are aiming for goals. So that happens when you are consistent, not perfect. You either run and fall short or you walk a long distance. So I believe in the latter part if you want to sustain it. Once you get beyond the point where this becomes a second breathing thing for you, then you may, tighten up the screw a bit, saying that, okay, no, 3 weeks or 3 months or 4 months, I'm going to stay strict to my diet. I'm not going to party. I'm not going to consume alcohol. You can do that. But you need to get to that things.
Right.
If you aim to do that in the initial phases, you'll burn yourself out very quickly.
Right.
So my suggestion would be take it slow, enjoy the process, and as they say, it's not the destination, it's the journey.
If you go on an extreme diet where like you stop eating like all the junk, start eating very, very minimal, there is a possibility of muscle loss. This is one thing that like repetitively like I've heard. Second thing is that again, if you lose that kind of muscle gain is another process that you need to step into, and that's like a long journey. So what do you have to say for somebody like who's just beginning? What should they know about muscle loss and muscle gain?
So it's a simple concept. Everyone knows what a calorie is.
Correct.
Calories are a measure of how much food you're eating. So it's like saying my body maintains X amount of weight of 2,000 calories. To give you a metaphor, it's like describing a vehicle's mileage, right? If you go to a showroom, the sales executive might say, sir, this vehicle gives you a mileage of 10 kilometers. But that's not exactly what it does. It depends on you, how fast or slow you drive the vehicle. So it's something similarly, calories are your energy source. They are how the energy is measured. And the concept of energy in versus energy out. And about energy balance. For example, if you want to gain weight, you're a skinny teenager. If your maintenance calories is 2,000, you need to eat slightly above per. To gain weight. To lose weight, you have to do the opposite.
Correct.
But now when I say 2,000 calories or slightly beyond that, it should be coming for all clean food sources. And you should have a macro breakdown of how much carbs you're eating, protein and fats you're eating, according to your body type, your goals, and your training methods.
Okay.
This may be variable from person to person.
Okay.
But initially, if you're just a skinny, fat teenager, do not focus on getting ripped.
Okay.
You first need to build a frame
Okay.
for the first 1 year at least.
Okay.
Don't eat junk a lot. You may have a piece of chocolate here and there every day. One piece of chocolate is fine.
Okay.
But if you cannot control the cravings, I advise you to stay away completely from them initially till you get a grasp on the discipline aspect.
Okay. Okay. So one thing that I picked out of what you just said is about calories. So I know we are supposed to maintain a calorie deficit if we want to lose weight, and similarly like vice versa, right? సో ఇప్పుడు క్యాలరీస్ దగ్గరకు వస్తే మనం హౌ డు వి డిఫరెన్షియేట్ గుడ్ క్యాలరీస్ ఏంటి, బ్యాడ్ క్యాలరీస్ ఏంటి?
Well, it's simple. You can put two రెండు పక్కన పెడితే ఒక slice of pizza, then there is a quinoa salad.
ఓకే,
So looking at it, you know what's healthy, right?
కరెక్ట్.
This slice of pizza contains 500 calories. This bowl of quinoa contains 500 calories.
కరెక్ట్.
ఇప్పుడు మీరు తినే ఈ పిజ్జాలో ఎంత కార్బ్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఎంత ప్రోటీన్ ఉంది, ఎంత ఫ్యాట్ ఉంది మీకు తెలియదు. ఎందుకంటే you didn't make it, you don't know the list of ingredients or the amount of water.
రైట్, రైట్.
But you know the quinoa. You can just look at it and say, it's okay, so it's a cup of quinoa.
ఓకే,
Quinoa, no, you have a little bit of protein and carbs.
రైట్,
And you know exactly in what ratios you get.
రైట్.
Here, it's completely unknown. And it's carbs, it's cheese, and protein.
Right.
So all three macronutrients together will pump up the calories.
రైట్.
Now, can you not eat a slice of pizza? Absolutely, you can. This comes when you eat 90 to 80% of the time clean, and maybe once in a while you can have a slice of pizza that can amount to the same amount of calories.
రైట్.
But if you make it okay, I need to eat 2,000 calories now, I'll eat it from whatever. Your body synthesizes calories very differently.
రైట్.
It synthesizes sugars differently, fiber differently,
Right.
protein differently. Different kinds of fats are also broken down very different.
రైట్.
So now what are the sources of proteins and carbs and fats you're eating will determine how your body is going to change or not with the same amount of calories, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely does. So, again, going in the same concept, alcohol consumption. I think the number of pubs that we have, the number of clubs that are opening up,
Yes.
amount of breweries that opened up in Hyderabad in the last couple of months, especially after the COVID relaxation happened. I wouldn't say, I mean, I personally wouldn't say like completely go against it, but I would want to learn asla alcohol valla mana body loni jarige what are the effects, what are the changes, and alcohol valla mana fitness development, like how is it
Correct.
hindering the fitness development?
Good question. And I think most people would be interested in this particular topic.
Yes.
So I'll make it simple for you. Rain is alcohol, I feel was created to celebrate something, like an occasion or to, have a good time with friends,
Correct.
which I feel is getting slightly out of hand. Nowadays, people cannot socialize without alcohol. And it has become a big part of our culture. Okay, but when you have fitness as a goal on the side, it will slow your progress down. Not just mentally, physically also. మీకు ఏమవుతుందంటే ఆల్కహాల్ కన్స్యూమ్ చేసిన ప్రతిసారి నీ బాడీ మెటాబలిజం కొంచెం డ్రాప్ అవుతుంది. And it will recover in a day. But let's say you're drinking again tomorrow. When will it recover? So you're taking like a step forward and backward. You're going nowhere, you're in between.
Correct.
If you want to see significant changes in your body, alcohol should be limited. I don't say completely cut it now. If you can, that's good for you. But if not, you can have it in moderation. And advice is to not have alcohol on the days, one day before or after you're working out. That is slow you down, and your body's protein synthesis is not up to the point.
Okay.
You're lifting weights and you break down the muscle. You want proteins to go into the muscle and rebuild itself.
Correct.
Alcohol slows that process down. It will
Interesting.
impair your cognitive thinking, the neurons that fire signals to the brain. దాని ప్రాసెస్ స్లో అవుతుంది అండ్ మీ బ్రెయిన్లో గ్లూటమిన్ అనే ఒక అమినో యాసిడ్ ఉంటుంది, అది డిప్లీట్ అవుతుంది. దట్ ఈస్ పర్టికులర్లీ వై పీపుల్ హ్యావ్ హ్యాడ్ ఓవర్స్ add to the dehydration they have from the alcohol. So if you're hungover, I would suggest 2 spoons of glutamine with some pink salt and a squeeze of lemon in the water first thing in the morning after your freezing.
Very interesting. So ideally, like how long does it take to like recover from the alcohol that you've had last night?
Ideally 1 day, if you do everything right.
Okay.
First thing you need to make sure is you're drinking a lot of water. You need to either flush out the alcohol from your urine or sweat. So drink water. You don't need to work out, but get on the treadmill and sweat out. That should speed up the process, get the alcohol out of your system.
Okay.
And of course, you'll still feel a little lethargic and slow that day, but you should be good with the next day.
Okay. So one more follow-up question I have on this is that like we've heard in the last 1-2 years that there are a lot of people that are having a cardio arrest while they're doing the treadmill.
Yes.
What is it about? అంటే అసలు అది నిజమా కాదా లేదా లైక్ అది అసలు డస్ దట్ జెన్యున్లీ ఎఫెక్ట్ యువర్ కార్డియో ఫంక్షనింగ్?
Ante, see, you cannot just plainly look at it that people are dying in the gym, right? You don't know their background.
Correct.
You don't know their habits. You don't know where they're coming from. And most important factor is, if you've noticed, this is more prominent post-COVID. Since COVID, we have a lot of cases that have been reported that people are dying in the gym. Before, it was not too much. Before COVID, the first time I heard that was back in 2015 when someone was a heavy smoker and he started sprinting for like 10-15 minutes and he had a heart attack. That was pretty common because he's a heavy smoker. But I heard that post-COVID, what's happening is those who came in contact with COVID and their heart rates, the stick heart rate, oxygen levels have dropped. That's reaching the oxygen levels.
Okay.
Even though they are back in the resting state, once your heart rate is elevated, meaning you're doing any sort of activity, it goes beyond your resting heart rate. From there to the resting heart rate, recovery is much slower than what it is usually.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So from that high point to low, it's taking a lot of time and they're getting back to the interval effectively. So this puts a lot of stress on the heart as a muscle.
Okay.
Heart is as well as a muscle. So heart attack is what? A cramp to your heart.
Okay.
So when your heart cramps, you have a heart attack. Now, are you hydrated enough? Do you have enough electrolytes? Are you a smoker?
Okay.
Did you have COVID? Did you have too much pre-workouts and caffeine? All of these things play a major role on how your heart functions.
Okay.
I've been working out for 12 years. Not to boast, but I train 50-20 times harder than a normal human being. I've never had any issue, not even the slightest of the injury. I think it's all in the details as to how you plan and structure yourself, because you have that discipline of maintaining a healthy life. It should not be a problem for most people. Until and unless you've had a very bad case of COVID, then you should always be in touch with your physician, note down your heart rate, and see how good or bad your elevation is.
Okay.
And also track your oxygen levels.
Okay. I do have like at least 20 questions running in my mind with respect to fitness, but we'll just pull back and we will talk a little bit about your experience while you were training Srinivas Bellamkonda for Chhatrapati.
It was a good experience. I mean, by experience, I mean, I got to learn a lot of things, because training a normal person is different, but when you have a deadline, when you have like a day to get someone ready, you being ready is different, you getting someone ready is different. And to add to that, there are certain things that are not in your control, such as the other person's nutrition, the other person's rest and recovery, his schedule, his stress management, and all of these things. Now, the initial challenge was finding the right kind of training methods for him. Because he wanted to replicate something similar to Prabhas's physique back in the original Chhatrapati.
Okay.
Which was not like a, if you compare that physique to nowadays physiques of heroes, it was very basic. So what he did wanted extremely ripped or extremely bulky with somewhere in between.
Okay.
Doing this or this is very easy.
Correct.
Doing it in between is where the challenge arrives.
Correct.
But his dedication and discipline was one point that I can assure of, and that made the job slightly easier for me. It was a course of 1-year program where
Okay.
so Srinivas is the kind of guy who gets ready for a role and is very busy for his other parts of his schedule.
Okay.
So for him to maintain fitness is a big task on a daily basis, and I've seen it.
Right.
But he made no excuses when the time was right. He came to the gym at the right times. He always followed a strict diet. Even the days I could not make it to the gym, he was there working out, and I gave him the plans. And his consistency is what I admire about Achievers. But when it came close to the shoot date, I was really excited, because all of this 1 year's work went up to fruition now.
Right.
I bought a car with to a shoot occasion, and there was this bare body being seen. I last scene was we depleted water, sodium, and carbohydrate for the last 2 days. So this is what usually bodybuilders do to get very dry at the stage.
Okay.
It applies to the same protocols will apply to the same thing to mimic the same kind of effect. So he was very patient with that. Usually, we being the bodybuilders and we know what kind of weakness it gives us when you don't have water and when you're training and you're restricting salt, restricting carbohydrates, your body will start shutting down. Despite of all that, he still went to the show. He gave his best performance. And when the day actually came, I was really happy with the way it came out. Even the director, V.V. Vinayak, he was really happy looking at it. It's like, I would CGH after very body. It was candid.
Very nice.
It was a good experience.
Very nice. So we'll pull back a little bit from the fitness and we would want to know more about you. So the first conversation that I had with you was extremely intense. Although I thought we'll have a very a high by superficial conversation. I knew that we were going under layers, understanding mindset, understanding the attitude and approach that you need to have. I know that you are a reader. So I want to understand what your mindset is at the moment.
In general?
In general.
In general, there's this, I don't know, I have to call it a real life crisis or something. I started realizing that I've grown up in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've really grown up as an adult because I see responsibilities now over me and this happened.
Yeah.
Now I am responsible for 10 other lives that work for me.
Correct.
Before it was purely make money, have a good life, have a good relationship or have a decent family just like any other normal person.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the same. I still want all of that. And to add to that, I would love to bring more to the society in terms of helping out with fitness or the mindset or anything that I get to. I would like to grow or learn more and more and give it back to somebody. And I've gone through a lot of stuff as a teenager. And my growing up was a lot of different phases.
Mm-hmm.
And as I grew up, every phase was very cherishable for me, even though I had nose and eyes.
Okay.
And I've learned a lot of things, hands-on experience. I have a younger brother who's 10 years younger to me.
Okay.
So my immediate mindset is to give him the life that I missed out on. Not in terms of materialistic things, but actually experiences and the knowledge or the wisdom that I've gained throughout the years.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say because I'm the eldest sibling too. So the protective parental instincts kick in when it comes to your siblings. I know exactly what you're talking about. Can you elaborate a little bit more about your childhood? Because usually, in my opinion, I think the mentality, the mindset, the lifestyle that we have as adults is all stemming from our childhood and the experiences we've had. Is there anything specific you want us to know so we understand you better?
Right. So my childhood was amazing. I had one of the best childhoods. I was the only child, and I was pampered by my father and monitored by my mother. Did you know what monitoring?
Yeah.
My mom was a teacher at the same school as I was.
Oh, damn.
So you can imagine the school life I've had. It was good. And to add to that, I was very hyperactive as a kid. I couldn't sit at a place. And I was a chubby kid. I was overweight. I was a good hefty kid. So all add to that. And in my school life, I was always out of the class. I was always in some sort of punishment. We were always disturbed with class.
Is that because your mom's a teacher?
Not particularly.
Is the focus always on you?
Yes. Because I was the catalyst in that classroom where everything gets diverted.
Okay.
I'm a good lecturer.
Okay.
And I was banned from eating lunch with my schoolmates. I was supposed to go sit in the staff room with mom and all the other teachers. Have lunch.
Oh, okay.
So that was unique, I must say. And I never felt bad about it. I always was smiling and I knew, okay, this punishment, I deserved it. I kind of was content with it.
Okay.
But coming to the school life and childhood, my mom was a very big influence on me.
Yeah.
Because there was this 2 years of phase, I think in my second or third grade, both of them mixed together.
Okay.
My dad wasn't here, he was abroad in search of new opportunities.
Okay.
And it was just me and my mom.
Okay.
We developed a very strong bond growing up, especially because we used to go to the makeup and go to the same school, come back at the same and the same auto. It was always, she was more like a best friend to me.
Okay.
And she was also my tuition teacher along with other kids at 4. So she was always there guiding me. And as I said, I was a hyperactive kid, and my mom found a very good way to regulate that by giving me a schedule. Like you have to wake up at this time, especially during the summer holidays or any kind of vacation.
Okay.
She didn't want me to have that ideal levels break.
Okay.
So she kept me busy throughout the day. Like I need to watch TV at a certain time, I need to eat meals at the same time, read books at the same time. So I feel that is a very crucial thing for me to have the discipline that I have now.
Okay.
Because now I cannot live without a schedule.
Okay.
If I don't know what's happening in the next 1 hour or 2 hours or tomorrow, if I don't know the plan, I'm restless.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to make down my schedule for tomorrow. So I give credit to my mom for that. Reading as well. She made me read a lot of books as a kid. There was the Scholastic expo that frequently happened in our school.
Okay.
And I was a board member for that, and she bought it for me, of course, we used to pick at least 4 or 5 books every time the expo happened.
Okay.
And that's how I got used to reading books as well. Of course, that got sidetracked as I grew up. But again, COVID was a turning point again to start reading books. Now I feel books have changed a lot, and they're changing on a daily basis. And if you remember, you gave me the book Tools of Titan.
Right.
I love that book, especially it not just gives you some sort of wisdom, but actually because it's divided into chapters of each character, you'll understand where they're coming from and why they made their choices, whatever that.
Correct.
So it's a good perception change.
Yeah. So actually, good that you brought it up. That's one of my favorite books that I keep going back to. The first time I read it was in 2016. So I did not understand most of it when I read it the first time. So these are different chapters that you can revisit and like read it for the first time at like a specific phase in your life, and you get it. You resonate with what they're saying. So I think the entire inspiration for the podcast also comes from it, because you learn from people. It's like you can actually learn from anybody that's around you, and you can pick something that they're doing and you can actually be inspired by it. So that's the entire motivation here as well. So while you speak about motivation, I would like to know more about the books that you've read. But before that, I've seen a sign on the top floor that says discipline is greater than motivation.
Yes.
What does that mean for you?
And it's pretty self-explanatory, right? Discipline will always win over motivation. What is motivation? It's a feeling that you get one fine morning, chalo gym jata hai.
And
Right? You go to the gym. You might have it the next day also.
Yeah.
Another day. But on the 4th day, it will fade away.
and
So think about it this way. If everyone was motivated to do things every day, the world would be so perfect.
right.
But it's not. And most of the time, even I personally have been working out every single day for the last 10 years. If I only worked out on the days that I had motivation, I would have probably stopped at year 1 or 2.
Right.
So I feel motivation is good to get you started. But once you get started, you should develop a sort of a discipline towards that.
Yeah, right.
When I say discipline, it's just doing the tasks that you need to do irrespective of how you feel.
Right.
You wake up, you feel happy or sad, you do the same thing. You know there are certain things, there are certain goals to be achieved that particular day. You might feel cranky, sleepless, tiresomeness, whatever it could be, that has to be done. That doesn't care.
Right.
Only you will.
Right.
So doing those things irrespective of how you're feeling is what discipline is. I feel once you've developed that, you'll never have to look for motivation in there. I don't know what exactly motivation is anymore, because that makes sense.
Right. Just to add on to what you're saying, and the biggest takeaway for me from Tools of Titans was that do not believe in goals, believe in systems. I think this resonates with discipline greater than motivation. So, to move a little away from this, you have been reading a lot, you've been working out a lot. So, I see that you are working out day in, day out. And like at least one day in a break, these could know you're working out every day despite having such a ripped body yourself. How long have you been away from working out? What is the longest?
Question. So I think I don't remember any phase where I took off from the gym like extended periods of time until I broke my ankle in 2019. It was a freak accident. I had to stay on the bed for like solid 60 days per se. Even then, I was very eager to get back into the gym. And I got back, even though I still had a cast on my leg. I still lied down and did whatever I could to just keep that going. So to after that, I think 60 days in the whole 10 years that I took off. Otherwise, my off days are actually planned. So I plan my rest days so that I can recover some of the workouts that I've done before and start fresh from tomorrow.
How many rest days do you have in a week?
Typically 1 or 2.
Okay.
But if I'm feeling extra lethargic or not recovered enough, then I might take another day off.
Okay.
Or if I am very extremely recovering, my diet is on point, my sleep is on point, stress is managed very good.
Okay.
I might go even 10, 50 days without taking a day off before I take a couple of days again.
Okay. So coming back to the books part, what is that one book that you would recommend to people no matter which phase in life they are in?
Right. So I'm a big believer in, I don't believe, I practice Stoicism. Do you know what Stoicism?
Yes.
It was a general philosophy written by Marcus Aurelius. He was a Roman leader back in the 4th century. So this was purely him being such a powerful entity all over the world. He was the most powerful person in the world at that point. But
Okay.
he had issues himself as well, personally, in his kingdom, with his ministers, with his armor. So whatever happened, he used to maintain a journal where he always spent down his thoughts.
Okay.
And that whole journey was not made public until 1960s.
Okay.
Late 1960s.
Okay.
Then once it was made, a lot of entrepreneurs or businessmen, politicians, anyone who would like to, navigate through today's emotional roller coaster, it could be anything, it could be your relationships, it could be your business, it could be any sort of a stress on your mentality. I feel Stoicism is a very good thing to practice. This teaches you to...
Sorry, can you help with what Stoicism is for people who don't know?
Stoicism is a kind of a philosophy which will teach you or help you navigate through a lot of bullshit in life.
Okay.
Particularly when you have a lot of emotional trauma or emotional roller coasters that you might be going through. So, for example, it will teach you how to separate your needs from wants.
Okay.
It will teach you how you should worry or not worry about the things you can control versus the things you cannot control.
Right.
And it also focuses on how any anger, hate, or any sort of negative emotion is, and why you should not hold it, and why that will hold you back as well.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things, but one lovely thing I tell myself every day that I picked up from Stoicism is you don't matter. In the longer fabric of time and space, you don't matter. So this piece, we are here today, right? No one remembers the person that was 500 years ago until and unless he did something extraordinary.
All right.
So once you go for this rabbit, it might be nothing sort of an impact on the bigger time frame of the fabric.
Right.
So having said that, I've also, another visual cleared this out for me, which was a picture of Earth taken from a satellite that did its last orbit around the Earth
Okay.
before it went away, floated away into the outer space.
Okay.
So after it crossed our galaxy, we took a snapshot of Earth.
Okay.
It was a blank, huge black space where there was a white tiny dot that was Earth. Now you can think we are here, we're living on that tiny dot.
Right.
You are a very small cog in the big time frame.
Right.
So what you can do is live the best life you can,
Right.
be content with yourself, and if possible, do something for the society. Other than that, you don't mind yourself. You'll all be there.
I think you don't matter kind of gives me a perspective that takes away stress from every small thing. How are we looking? What are we wearing?
Absolutely.
How are we talking? I think that it takes away all the stress if you remind yourself that you don't matter.
So, to add to that, how this helps me is every day I wake up and I might feel happy, might feel sad. If I'm happy, you don't think much. You just get along with things.
Right.
But if you're sad or you're cranky or there's something bothering you, it's always good to remind yourself that you woke up, that you're alive.
Right.
Some people didn't wake up today.
Right.
So that itself will help you get a good perspective first thing in the morning. This, I think, practicing gratitude is also one thing that Stoicism is teaching.
Yeah. Very well said. So moving back a little bit into fitness, in case this is getting a little serious for people listening in.
Yeah.
So I also see that you take a lot of supplements to ensure that it's supporting your fitness goals. So can you help us understand if somebody's saying supplements are bad, why are supplements bad? And if you can recommend supplements for, if there is a separate for like men and women, or if you can recommend supplements for anybody that like would help them with their health.
Of course. So supplements are just that, right? This supplement your nutritional program. Those who say supplements are bad and those who swear by supplements, like this is the best thing, both are wrong because these guys don't rely enough and these guys rely too much on supplements.
Right.
I think you have to have that balance where you should have a very healthy nutritional plan and figure out where the gaps are. For example, if you're allergic to citrus fruits, you might be having a vitamin C deficiency. So that's when you supplement with vitamins. Or you supplement with a vitamin C when you're sick. You need extra vitamin C to for the immunity to fight back.
Right.
So there are conditionally essential supplements and there are supplements that everyone needs to have in their daily routine irrespective of what gender they are or what age they are and if they work out or not. So these could be your multivitamins,
Okay.
your B complex,
Okay.
omega fatty acids,
Okay.
zinc and magnesium.
Okay.
And if you don't get enough sunlight, a vitamin D.
Okay.
So these are in the core supplements if I have to put it. Oh, they're relevant also if you're an 80-year-old man or a woman or a 20-year-old dad. You still have to have this in your arsenal. Now to add to this, as I said, there are conditionally essential supplements, especially for women. It's iron.
Okay.
Because women use a lot of during their menstruation and iron is lost. And there's the study there, they found that 80% of Indian women are deficient in iron. So iron is something women should add.
Okay.
And for men, I see having ashwagandha. This can be good for women as well.
Okay.
Manage stress, but it helps men a lot
Okay.
by improving their hormonal output.
Okay.
Then you can add something of Shilajit.
Okay.
If your testosterone is low or if your performance and recovery is low,
Okay.
these can be added to your sleep. And if you're a high-performing athlete, you can buy a whey protein supplement if you are not meeting your protein goals on a daily basis. Or if you're a daily person who cannot eat 100 or 200 grams of protein in a day just by sitting and eating spoon. Or maybe you can do that 3 days in a week and one day you're really busy and that's when your protein powder comes in. So it's not a magic supplement that will help your brain body instantaneously. It just boosts your protein intake.
Okay.
So coming back to the question, supplements are non-fat or good. The supplements, you need to fill out the gaps where you feel that you're lacking.
Okay. Because you spoke about protein, is taking protein good? If so, how much?
Whey protein is, there are plant protein first, but most predominantly available protein in the market is whey protein isolate.
Correct.
So whey protein is a byproduct of milk. Milk has two kinds of protein, 80% of casein and 20% of milk is whey protein.
Okay.
So when they dehydrate the milk and separate the lactose and all the impurities out, whey protein is what you're left out with.
Okay.
So if you're not someone who has lactose intolerance or any issues with milk, even those people, some of them can have whey protein because all the lactose is flushed out.
Okay.
So to come back to your question, how much? Depends on your protein intake, your weight, your height, and your activity factor.
Okay.
If your protein bone is 100 grams per day, you get that from whole foods, you don't even need a protein powder.
Okay.
But if you only be able to eat 70 to 80 grams from your whole food, then that one scoop of protein will help you reach that 100 grams per day.
Okay.
So another example I give you, me personally, is I eat a lot of meat to get my protein. I
Okay.
eat a lot of chicken, fish, and eggs. But if there is some pizza at home or I'm able to cook, I'll move the vegetarian sources.
Okay.
Rather than eating paneer, I would like to do a scoop of protein for my entire day.
Okay.
So I went up to 6 scoops a day when I was purely on a veg diet.
Okay.
So to answer your question, there's no harder. For it, it all comes down to how much protein you need.
Okay. So while we're coming to the end of the podcast, how would you describe the mindset of Rushil when he was 20? And what advice would you give Rushil at 20?
Yeah. So it's actually hard to recollect because my 20s was a mess, to be honest. Because I didn't have a direction, I didn't like the education I was doing, although I was with it.
What did you study?
I did my engineering like everyone else, computer sciences.
Okay.
So going through all of that, I felt it was not worth it, and I was stuck in a place.
Okay.
And I had a girlfriend back then, and it was showing all the relationship as well. And I felt that I needed to make changes to my life, and I knew where. So it was a learning curve, right? From 20 to 25, it was purely experimenting with my mindset as to see what works for me and what can I focus on. I knew that I had a lot of focus in me, but I didn't know where to put it.
Okay.
And the whole gym thing I took seriously and that transcended it over being the profession.
Okay.
As I moved beyond my 25, well, if you remember, I told you at the start of the podcast that I realized I've grown up a lot in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So the mindset has shifted a lot without me even actually realizing it.
Hmm.
Now, if I sit and just have a storm of thoughts, I look back and I was like, oh. I mean, like, I could have done better,
Okay.
but if I have a regret, that's nothing, because I look at things like I either get to learn or I wear faith. I don't look at things as I've lost or I put myself down.
Right.
So I think I go back to my 20-year-old self, tell me that breathe, things are going to be fine, and you're going to go where you want to go to.
Very nice. I think a lot of us need to remind ourselves that constantly that like breathe, it's all okay. So when you started Built, I'm sure there's a lot of risk while you started off because there's a lot of investment that went into this. How did you take that leap of faith?
I actually didn't consider it a leap of faith. Maybe it might sound funny, but I was confident in myself.
Okay.
I knew it's a lot of risk because I've seen, being in the same field, I've seen so many gyms fail.
Okay.
And I know gym is typically a loss-making business because let's take any other gym. For example, you pay X amount of money to the gym for a 1-year subscription.
Mm-hmm.
The gym has no income from you for that next 1 year.
Correct.
So that's always going to end up in you trying to get more and more clients into your gym.
Mm-hmm.
That structure will put a lot of stress on you.
Correct.
So I knew that we had a lack of quality in the training sector, personal training sector.
Okay.
Because I've seen so many personal trainers just get into personal training because either they think it's easy money
Okay.
or they're confident enough because they could change themselves, they will change another person as well. This won't always do. It's good that people are taking up fitness as a profession, but I feel it's a not more to that. You should pull up a certification, should have hands-on experience on yourself, on your clients. Even there are people who have a lot of certifications but have no hands-on experience. It's as good as just reading the book. Correct. It's not a programming code that you read in a book and type in the computer and it starts working.
Okay.
So you should have an eye for always improving things, reading and understanding patterns. This comes with experience also. But coming to the topic, I see personal training is where most money from as my perspective is.
Okay.
So I thought, if you remember, I told you I wanted a place for my clients to train.
Yeah.
That was the poor idea, and I know struggling trainers like me in the market, so I find I should give them a home and a space for them to feel good about doing their job. So now we focus on personal trainings and mostly dedicated fitness.
Okay.
So even now I have that stress at the back of my head. Some degree of stress is always there to keep your business functioning, growing. And it's not just you need to pay the bills. There are 10 others working for you who also need to pay their families.
Right.
So that, well, if you think about it, will add up your pressure. Actually, I do thrive on that kind of pressure also, because if I'm that kind of person without any pressure, I will slap off. I will procrastinate. I will not do things that I need to do. So I felt we learn things the hard or the hardest way, right?
Okay.
I'm the person who learns it the hardest way. So for me, I learned that if I don't have some sort of healthy pressure on me, I can't perform at it. So having that pressure is what gives me confidence and leap of faith in making this business or this community grow. And speaking of community, I built then a gym where people see close to everyone. They feel like a family.
Yeah.
Especially if you come in the mornings, everyone is like taking and the others are motivating them, helping them out, hyping them out, recording the videos. I feel that is what is important. Gym efficiently, if someone has a better investment than me, they can set up a better gym.
Yeah.
But what value you add to the gym as a business owner, as an athlete, as a normal person who just would walk into the gym,
You're adding culture to.
adding culture to the full space.
Yeah. Wonderful. So I have just two more questions for you. One is somebody who wants to start their fitness journey. What is your advice to them?
It starts simple. Just form healthy habits. Don't stress on the best program, on the best trainer, on the best supplements, on the best diet. This is what mostly I've seen beginners to me. Like their habits are completely contrast to yesterday, and from today they want to start living like a bot. That usually is not
Yes.
susceptible or sustainable, because you might do it for a week. But these are some things that you need to build and work on. You cannot just copy paste them from a person who's been working out from 10 years to your life, because you're completely different about where you started.
Yeah.
So start slow with the basics and just focus on showing up every day.
No.
If you can't, that's fine, show up tomorrow. But just because you didn't show up today, don't take tomorrow off, saying that you're not going to Monday and start. Isn't that Monday? The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time to start is now.
Very well said. So the last question is, this is how we want to end every podcast, is we want to know, how did you make it?
Well, the whole podcast says about how I made it, but to put it shortly, I see it was purely a factor of and giving a good life to my mother. And that was the driving force. I want to give a good life to my mom, and that is why I started hustling for putting involved. But slowly, that also gave me good returns on my own personal life. So me making it was a trial and tribulation of it by accident, if I have to put it that way.
Okay.
It was as I said, it's the journey, right? The journey was beautiful, and I would do it all over again without any regret or anything that I would choose.
Wonderful. Any parting thoughts?
I would love to see your podcast grow,
Thank you very much.
and I'm very happy to be the first guest on your podcast.
Yeah.
I did not seriously think that you would take this very seriously when we had our initial discussion. It was just a random thought. It was like, hey, Anisha, why don't we start a podcast?
Yeah.
But I feel this is like an achievement to me, because now you've put things in motion that will change the course of your life. I
Hope so. I hope so. The intention is to ensure all of us are learning, people watching and people having conversations. But thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It's an absolute pleasure, firstly, knowing you and then having you on my podcast as my first guest. So much learning from you every time we meet, and I hope we meet again on this couch again. Hopefully. Thank you so much, Rushil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.